commercial-free. You can even share your favorite segments.
Hey, welcome in. Getting ready to get started here on a Friday Bruce Hooley show. Glad to have you along. Well, I had a plan when I reported for work this morning. Somebody else already had done the work, and I will share their work with you as we get into a Friday edition of the Bruce Hooley show. Also, if you did not enjoy Chris Pan's interesting commencement speech at Ohio State a week ago Sunday, it could have been worse, and maybe you just weren't smart enough to follow along. Chris Pan has spoken again about the reaction to his speech, and I look forward to sharing his views with you today as we proceed. But let's start with some good news, right? We could all use it. Joe Biden's still our president. No, that's not the good news. That's why we could all use real good news. And the real good news is a 6-year-old girl with special needs who was missing for about 12 hours has been found safely in Pike County. Wow, that's phenomenal. I can't imagine what kind of a fantastic Mother's Day weekend her family is going to have now that 6-year-old Aries Flannery was found early yesterday morning by Pike County Sheriff's deputies. She likes to walk in the woods, and apparently she has walked away before, but has never been gone this long. She was gone 12 hours, and the quotes from her parents are, well, they're heart-tugging because she's safe now. So another demonstration, ladies and gentlemen, of law enforcement and how great they are at what they do and how necessary they are to us living our lives with order, and how when things spin out of control, they are the first people we reach out to. And yet when things go wrong, they are often the first people we blame. So shout out to the Pike County Sheriff's deputies and the people they called in from West Virginia and law enforcement to help them. Great job, and I rejoice with the Flannery family that their little one has been returned home safely. Now, what did I intend to do when I came in today? I intended to go through the entire 2+ minute clip of Joe Biden from his sit-down interview with Aaron Burnett, count the lies or things that I thought were lies, and research them, and provide facts, truth, which I would think somebody who works at CNN, the most trusted name in news, would have done in advance of the interview, because we all know, right, you have to submit your questions to the White House in advance in order to get a sit-down interview with Joe Biden. Sage Steele of ESPN said that's exactly how it works. In fact, her interview with Joe Biden amid the pandemic was entirely scripted. I don't know if that was the case with Aaron Burnett, but I know Aaron Burnett didn't do her job, and I railed about this yesterday when Joe Biden said, "When I took office, inflation was 9%. No, it wasn't. It was 1.4%. By the way, a colleague asked me today about if inflation is 9% and then it's 3%, is inflation still an issue at 3%, or is it over because 3 is a lot better than 9? And I explained to him that inflation is the measure of how fast prices or how much prices are increasing. Okay? So inflation is cumulative. The best way I could think to illustrate it in that moment was to say, if you were running a half-mile race against someone, that's 2 laps around the track, and after the first lap they were 9 yards ahead of you, and in the second lap they gained 3 more yards or got 3 more yards ahead of you, how many yards ahead of you would they be at the finish line after 2 laps? They obviously would be 12 yards ahead of you. That's inflation. If Joe Biden comes in and inflation is 5% in the first year, and I'm just throwing these numbers out as a demonstration, 5% and then 6% the second year, and then 4% the third year, and then another 5% the fourth year, what is inflation after 4 years? What is the total increase in prices after 4 years compared to when he took office? It's 20%, and that's where we are. That's where we are. Essentially, 20% is a pretty good number. Some things are higher, some things are lower, but 20% is a pretty fair measure. Grocery store, it's actually higher than that. So I wanted to go through the Biden interview with Aaron Burnett. I wanted to find out how many times did this guy lie and provide the details on how he lied. But I don't have to, because the New York Post did it for me. The New York Post says that Joe Biden spoke to Aaron Burnett for 17 minutes and told 15 lies. 15 lies in 17 minutes. What would you call someone who tells 15 lies in 17 minutes? I wouldn't call him Mr. President. I'd call him a liar. That's what I'd call him. Or I'd call him a fool or an idiot or a deceiver. He's all of those things. So I'm not going to go through all 15, okay? Because whoever's at National Review and keeps track of Biden's lies, remember the last time we went through the list, they had charted 331 lies by Joe Biden in public appearances. I traveled with Xi Jinping for 17,000 miles. No. I traveled over the Francis Scott Key Bridge on a train. No, it's a traffic bridge. All these. The other day in Wisconsin, Father so-and-so, my theology guy, he was drafted by the Green Bay Packers, except his name's not on the Packer draft list anytime in history. But none of those came out during the Aaron Burnett interview. Here are the ones that came out. First lie. I've gone into this multiple times. We'll cover it quickly. I've created over 15 million jobs since I've been president. Nope. As I said, I could go to the sink and create water by turning the faucet on. Biden just opened the economy back up. And by the way, it took him until July of 2022, more than 2 years after he took office, for the American economy to regain all the jobs that it lost during the pandemic. Let's go. Number 3. Look, this is Biden talking, at what he, meaning Trump, says he's going to do if he gets elected. He says he's going to do away with what I've done on Medicare, reducing the price of Medicare. Instead, Donald Trump has said, quote, I will never do anything that will hurt or jeopardize Social Security or Medicare. Okay, that's a lie then that Joe Biden told. Lie number 4 on the New York Post list. You know, we have over 1,000 billionaires in America. Know what their average federal tax is? 8.3%. Factcheck.org, which usually means defendjoebiden.org. All the fact checkers, Daniel, Dale, and every single one of them. Factcheck.org says the top 1% of earners with more than $4.4 million in expanded cash income, so not billionaires, but the top 1%, pay an average federal tax rate of 25%. Not 8%, 25%. He's just off a little bit. Maybe his brain, like RFK's, had a worm that ate it. Who knows? Lie number 6, Joe Biden says the polling data, after Aaron Burnett hit him with all the facts of all the places where he's getting crushed by Trump, the polling data has been wrong all along. Really? Every survey says people are upset about the economy. Every poll puts his approval ratings at historic lows. Every poll from every different source, they're all done wrong? They've all sampled badly? I think not. Joe Biden, lie number 7. There's corporate greed going on out there, and it's got to be dealt with. Corporate greed, eh? Well, labor costs have increased 4% in each of the past 2 years. They increased 5% in 21 and 2022. Are those cumulative too, like the race, your little half-mile race on inflation? Yes, they are. The cost of supplies, shipping, rent, taxes, transportation, everything has gone up. Joe Biden's dealing with it. How's he dealing with it? What? He's telling companies you can't raise prices. That's dealing with it? Is that realistic? I'm a company. I can raise prices or I can go out of business. I think raising prices might be a better idea. Oh, wait, Joe Biden won't like that. No, it won't, because it'll make him look like the horrible president that he is. The 9% thing we've already covered on inflation. This was the other one that should really anger people. When Aaron Burnett went through all the awful economic numbers, Joe Biden said, well, look, they have the money to spend. It angers them and it angers me that they have to spend more. They have the money to spend? Who has the money to spend? Him? I mean, if I picked up bags of cash from oligarchs around the world, I'd have plenty of money to spend too. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Well, no, I wouldn't feel good about it because I don't like breaking the law. I'm really blessed I don't have a crackhead for a daughter like he has for a son. According to Bankrate, 76% of adults making less than $50,000 a year are living from paycheck to paycheck. An increase from 71% the year before. So are things getting better? No, they are not. A year ago, 71% of the people were living paycheck to paycheck. Now, 76% of the people are living from paycheck to paycheck. This did not go over well with the American electorate. And you know who else it didn't go over well with? Some Democrat apologists who have always had Joe Biden's back. We'll share their views of this next.
Increasing cloudiness.
Off and running. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Love taking my pills. Love the pills. The pills, the pills, the pills. Let's think. How many pills in the morning routine? Here we go. You see those? All those. They're all going down the old Bruce Hooley gullet. Let's count them, shall we? Man, some of these are big enough to choke a horse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Somewhere between 15 and 17 pills in there. I'm not sure. I might have counted some of them twice. I'm going to do this off camera because I figure you don't want to watch it happen.
We haven't seen in a long time, maybe ever. Inflation continues to be a problem. Interest rate increases have made purchases like cars and homes seemingly impossible for some, and retirement looks like a scary proposition. For many, it appears to be a dire situation and has left them paralyzed and fearful. You are not helpless, and there are ways to gain back control. At Aptus, we help our clients navigate the labyrinth of retirement planning and educate them on how to make appropriate choices for their individual situation. Whether you have never met with a fiduciary investment advisor before, or you just want a second opinion, we're here to help. Call our office today at 614-917-1040 and learn how a cost-free, complimentary meeting may be the key to putting your money to work and your mind at ease. And don't forget to listen to the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
There is no substitute for a healthy diet, but there is balance of nature. Remember when you were a kid, your parents and grandparents made you try all the vegetables on your plate? You had to eat them all. They knew what was good for you. Well, it's truer today than ever before. You got to eat your fruits and veggies every single day, and I do it with Balance of Nature. 3 little red, 3 little green, easy to swallow capsules from Balance of Nature. Their products are gluten-free and non-GMO. They contain no added sugars or synthetics. If you're looking for something to make you feel better, I mean, have you lost a little bit of...
All right, I got most of them down. I got 2 big ones left to go. I'll save those for the next break.
Use the promo code MikeG and get this special offer of 35% off. Call Balance of Nature.
Excuse me here, one more bite of food.
2468-751. 800-2468-751. Mention the discount code MikeG, or you can order online by going to balanceofnature.com. Use the discount code MikeG to get 35% off. Join me on this journey to feeling better, the Balance of Nature way.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. double. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. They've shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
America's sleep master, Mike Lindell, has never been more determined to help you sleep through the night and get that restorative, rehabilitative sleep. Because I assume that's why he's discounted prices on many of his MyPillow products to $25. Not discounted them $25, he's discounted them to $25. Can I get Giza Dream Sheets for $25? Yes. Can I get slippers, slides, towel sets? Yes, for $25. And what about the MyPillow? I mean, you've told me, Bruce, that you paid, what, $70 for that? I think you were crazy to do that. Really? Well, I'm pretty happy with my MyPillow. After 7.5, 8 years of use, still holds its shape throughout the night. Yes, I did pay $70. You'll pay $25. What if I want a king size? You'll pay, get ready, $25. So check it out. MyPillow.com, promo code Bruce. MyPillow.com, promo code Bruce. Chris Pann's graduation speech at Ohio State is getting panned, and has been panned, but it could have been worse, as they say. I will tell you how much worse it could have been at 11:35 today, when I tell you who some of the other speakers that they considered were. Oh boy, stand by for that. But top of the show today, we're dealing with the Joe Biden 15 lies in 17-minute interview on CNN. This according to the New York Post. And I have no reason to doubt them. It's infuriating to those of us who prize and treasure truth, govern our lives according to the authority of God. And as the troll, dolt, or imbecile caller that we had at the end of yesterday's show tried to call me out and say, oh, well, you support Donald Trump. You don't have a problem with Donald Trump. Well, I support Donald Trump over Joe Biden. Let's finish the sentence. You know, would I have preferred to have a different candidate represent me on the Republican side of the ticket? Yes. But Donald Trump is who I have. I'm not a doofus like Jim Garrity or some of these other conservative purists who want to tut me about January 6th and Donald Trump, and he should have done this and he should have done that. So you're going to not vote for Trump and let Democrats escalate their attempt to rip babies apart limb by limb in the womb and sexually mutilate children? I saw a video today of some dude running against girls in a high school track meet. It's laughable. And the Ohio Education Association and Equality Ohio and Allison Russo and all of her little Democratic rat finks in the Ohio General Assembly fully support it and would welcome it happening here in the state of Ohio. So yes, I support Donald Trump over Joe Biden. And you can tell me Donald Trump exaggerated the size of the crowd at his inauguration, and Donald Trump may exaggerate his wealth, and he may do this and he may do that. His lies are not even remotely on the same scale as Joe Biden's. And it doesn't just offend me. It turns out that when Biden continues to traffic in these ridiculous, stupid, things are great, you're wrong, the polls are wrong, it doesn't just infuriate me. The people who are wandering around with Biden shoe polish on their tongues from years of licking his boots have had enough of it too. You've seen Doug Schoen on Fox News. Doug Schoen is not a wacko Democrat, but he's a Democrat, so he's halfway to wacko. Doug Schoen, he's a bald guy, Democratic strategist. He writes in The Hill today, following President Biden's State of the Union address in March, the incumbent president saw a surge in the polls which seemed poised to revive his campaign and re-energize the Democratic Party. Yeah, that was mostly made up, but whatever. Now, 2 months later, it increasingly appears that Biden's quiet comeback is running out of steam. Well, it never really had steam. But wait, Doug Schoen gets into the polls. Wonder if he knows they're wrong, according to Joe Biden. Doug Schoen says, a new national poll from CNN shows former President Donald Trump leading President Biden by 6 points in a head-to-head horse race, 49-43. Worse, just 1/3 of voters approve of Biden's handling of the economy, a tried and true metric for how Americans will likely vote. Wait, Doug, the polls are wrong. Joe Biden says so. Put it another way, Schoen writes, consumer sentiment, if it's any indication of Biden's electoral fate, Democrats have reason to worry. 65% of registered voters say the economy is extremely important to them. And in analyzing how this group of economic-centric voters plan to cast their ballots, Biden is projected to lose by over 30 points. Ooh, that's delicious. Doug Schoen. What about James Carville? Mr. Carville, of course, the raging Cajun, is the man who came up with the Bill Clinton electoral strategy. It's the economy, stupid. Speaking of stupid, James Carville was on with Chris Cuomo of Newsmax, and Cuomo asked him about Biden's interview on CNN.
James Carville, you know, you're the father of It's the Economy, stupid, and it certainly is in this election, and there's a disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street, and the president seemed to forget that in this interview.
Well, let me join the head scratching, okay? I don't think if people don't feel like they're in a good economy, you can't convince them. And I think there's a bunch of Ivy League economists, academic types that go in and say, sir, this is the best economy we've had since 1969. You have to go out and promote it. And that's not the world people are living in. And at some point, Chris, you know baseball, you got to let the ball come to you. You can't charge the ball. And I agree with the critics that this is not the proper messaging, that you should say these are things we're doing to deal with cost of living. Every first word sprays out of his mouth is high cost of living. And that's why we're doing these things, to give families relief. But I agree with the critics on this one.
Man, when you've lost James Carville, you got problems, dude. And when you've lost ABC News, you've got problems too. Here's their report on Biden's lying on CNN.
It was 9% when I came to office. 9%.
Inflation was actually 1.4% when Biden was sworn in, peaking at 9.1% in June 2022. It has since come down to 3.5%, preventing a further drop. Housing costs. In New York City, one survey found rent is rising 7 times faster than wages. Food costs also playing a role. Grocery prices are up 26% since 2019, and fast food prices are up 33%.
Gee, that's a lot of prices up. What about those housing costs, James Carville? You got anything to say to young people getting out of school trying to buy a house?
I mean, it's pretty good for savers. For people like myself that don't have a mortgage, that are net savers. But if you're 26 years old, you have no hope of buying a house, of educating children. You know, you're probably living in the basement with your sister and your mother and daddy's house. And when President Biden tells how good the economy is, your reaction is, what's that guy talking about?
Right.
And
sounds out of it.
I think there's some truth to that. But if you're holding a 3.5% mortgage, you're golden right now. But if you're trying to borrow a mortgage at 7%, you're not very golden.
No, you're not very golden. You're screwed. You're absolutely 100% screwed. Here's the other thing I noticed. My friend Alan Rogers today said he went to McDonald's and he decided he would treat himself to his favorite meal at McDonald's. A Big Mac meal, like Big Mac, fries, Coke. $10. For like $2 more, you can go in and sit down at a restaurant and get a burger. I mean, how are fast foods making it with the prices Biden has inflicted on them? Now, if you're going to do that sit-down restaurant thing for $12, you're saying, no, it's 15. It's 15 if you order a soft drink and they sock you for $3.50. Have you noticed they don't even put the price of the soft drink on the menu anymore?
Even at fast food places, burgers are like 15.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It is crazy. Totally crazy. Like, if you go to a sit-down restaurant, you can't order a soft drink or your bill's outrageous. It's totally outrageous because they're socking you like $3.50 for the soft drink, and they don't even, like, I've noticed at restaurants we go to, like we had a gift card to Texas Roadhouse, we went, they don't even put the price of soft drinks on the menu. They don't even put it on there.
Yeah, because you won't get it if you see
That's right, that's right. And that fountain drink costs them nothing,
Yeah,
like
it's
relatively
literally
nothing.
they're paying for syrup.
Yeah, that's right.
Pennies.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest scam because McDonald's used to have large drinks for $1.
Yeah. Well, I cut off the Cuomo thing, and one of the intro with, or I cut off the ABC News thing. They went into like fast food, and the lady said, "I got a lemonade and like 8 nuggets, and it's $14." Now she's probably in New York or someplace like that, but yeah, that's crazy. But doing a great job.
Yeah. Which is just how any common sense normal person can say, "Oh, Biden's great. We're doing better than like Trump." Like, what are you talking about?
I don't. But again, like he could win. He could win.
It's just insane.
It is insane. 100% insane.
What's right in the greatest country Americans see. He's Charlie Kirk, and you can hear him weekdays from 6 to 7, and again 11 to midnight.
All right.
Station for news, opinion, and passion. 98.9 FM. The Answer.
You want your child to become all that he or she can be, but you are dissatisfied with the current public education system. At Heart of Ohio Classical Academy Dublin campus, your child will receive a top-quality classical education based on the curriculum of the Hillsdale College's K-12 program, and it's tuition-free for everyone. For more information on how to enroll your child or to register for a parent info event, visit dublinclassical.com today. That's dublinclassical.com. Heart of Ohio, tuition-free, where students learn how to think. dublinclassical.com.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here from my friends at Lone Star Transfer. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? Now more than ever, the cost of timeshare ownership far outweigh the benefits. My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you get out. Our listeners' positive feedback demonstrates why I've supported them for many years now. For over a decade, they've successfully helped over 20,000 owners. Lone Star Transfer exclusive options help timeshare owners like you get out faster and easier than any other option in the country. They're the only company that will give you a written guarantee and release you from your timeshare in a specific time frame. With an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews, customer service is their top priority. For a free consultation and guaranteed solution,
Don't think I have time to take another bite. We got a live read coming up, then we'll be back into the show.
310-3116, or check it out right now at Lone Star Transfer. They're excellent. They do a wonderful job. LoneStarTransfer.com.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM. The Answer. Anywhere you go with The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
Shout out to my man Dana. He took advantage of the great pricing that I can get you on a flooring makeover in your home. Check me out, brucehooley.com. Leave your information, click on the tab in the upper right-hand corner of flooring. Or you can also leave your information, and I can contact you about patriotswitch.com products. Signed up Jane from Indiana the other day. Appreciate her listening to the show. Appreciate her realizing that, a lot of the stuff that's going on out there in commercial food and its industry is really bad. You see the recalls every day, right? You see the recall on meat? 16,000 pounds or 16 million pounds, or I don't know. What if you had some? Apple juice recalls, this recall, that recall. Never happens with patriotswitch.com products. Why? They never paid a product liability settlement. They've never paid a settlement to a family or to a village for poisoning the groundwater. You can't poison the ground with plants. That's what all their products are made from, plants, plant extracts. And they don't donate to woke causes like big corporations, Johnson & Johnson, Unilever, Procter & Gamble. BruceHooley.com or patriotswitch.com/Bruce. Get healthy, get great products, strike a blow against woke capitalism. patriotswitch.com. Oh, another bad morning for the campus crazies. These on the University of Pennsylvania campus, another Ivy League campus. Wouldn't you know? Police in riot gear began dismantling an anti-Israel encampment at UPenn early today. The cops gave a 2-minute warning. Coming in, get out. And then they went in around 6 a.m. So the protesters are no doubt upset by this, but this has to happen if you want a campus to be a campus. And it's probably a situation that will quiet down for a while, but then as we get closer to the Democratic Political Convention in Chicago in August, you watch. This is going to flare back up. It's going to get very violent. And with all his failures on the economy, with all his failures in Israel, we haven't even touched on that yet today, I will be more surprised if Joe Biden is the Democratic nominee for president on the ballot in November than I would be surprised if he's not. Than I would be if he's not. I'd be more surprised if he is than if he is not. I really think right now I'd put it at 60-40. They dump him. Now, I don't know how they navigate the Kamala Harris part of the equation because she ain't going to go quietly. She's had to stand there and defend this boob who she called a racist in her cup of coffee as a candidate, campaign. There's a little girl and Cal and I grew up and they were busing and that was me and you befriended racists and then she got picked anyway. Why'd she get picked? Well, you know why. DEI, right? Didn't earn it. That's what DEI stands for. Should. But she got picked. Now, the cops have restored order at Penn. Thankfully, we restored order at Ohio State due to the strong leadership of Ted Carter. But in its never-ending attempt to make Ted look bad, Colonel Ted, Top Gun Ted, the Columbus Dispatch has insinuated that the reason why Chris Pan, the social entrepreneur or whatever he is, was allowed to speak at commencement is because Ted Carter is an investor in a cryptocurrency firm. And that explains Pan's appearance on the stage because Chris Pan, of course, among the many goofy, weird things he did, was an impromptu live read for Bitcoin, which he said was like a misunderstood asset class. Chris Pan got panned for his speech. He should have gotten panned. Nobody ever heard of him. So now the Dispatch has done a deep dive into his, what they call, bizarre campus commencement address. And they wanted to know, it's a fair question, who else did Ohio State consider? This is where we delve into the Chris Pan speech was bad, but it could have been worse alternative. Would you like to know who was numero uno on the Dispatch's commencement, or not the, well, both the Dispatch's and Ohio State's commencement speaker list? Just think about it. Just think about it for a hot second. Yes, First Lady Michelle Obama. She was the number one pick of the committee at Ohio State to speak at commencement because her nut job husband spoke in 2013. So they've been trying to get Michelle on campus. They can't find a truck big enough to transport her here, I guess. She was the number one pick. She outperformed other nominations in terms of interest and was almost 2 times as popular as other nominees. Who were the other nominees? Lizzo, speaking of not being able to find a truck big enough to get her to campus, Lizzo, LeBron James. I've observed LeBron enough to know that a LeBron commencement address would feature at least one very awkward grammatical mistake. At least one. Michael Phelps. Oh, that would have made for some delicious jokes about Ohio State having to go get a legendary Michigan athlete as its commencement speaker. What, Tom Brady wasn't available? And Trevor Noah. You know, honestly, I can't think of a more perfect person to speak to graduates at Ohio State than an empty-headed buffoon like Trevor Noah. Those were the other people who were on the list. Now, the Dispatch finds it somewhat eyebrow-raising that Chris Pan was not listed. This gives them another way to attack Ted Carter, because they asked Ted Carter, how did this kid get the speaker at commencement role at Ohio State? And Ted Carter said, well, he was on the list of people. Oh, the Dispatch breakthrough reporting. Pan was listed as a possible Ohio State commencement speaker for 2019-2020 and 2020-2021, but not for the 2024 spring commencement. Stop the presses. That's big-time reporting. According to the speaker recommendations list, Pan was listed as a possible speaker for OSU's summer and winter graduation ceremonies. 4 years ago, he was listed again the following year for summer and winter graduations. He had not been a recommended speaker for any commencement ceremony since. Well, maybe somebody was following him on Instagram and realizing that he takes psychedelic drugs and that he was using AI to generate a speech. Like, if you're going to give a speech, like, I think the verbiage maybe need to be changed. Beyond just giving it, you are kind of expected to also write it, okay? like you author it and give it. Do we have to add that? That's always been presumed. Now, in the age of AI, we have to say, no, you not only get to give it, it's not a teleprompter exercise, you have to write it. Now, what does Chris Pan himself think of the reception of his speech? Well, fortunately, man, I'm going to owe the New York Post royalties after today. They interviewed Chris Pan, who says he is, quote, the most misunderstood person in the world. Oh, yes, the victim card. It never fails, does it? It's not as good as the intersectionality poker card, which you can play to get into the game and win the game by getting a good job because of your ethnicity or your race or your perceived ethnic disadvantage growing up. Your immutable characteristics you had nothing to do with help you get a job. That's the intersectionality poker trump card. And then when they try to fire you, you can play the same card again. Look, you can't fire me. I'm black. I'm this, I'm that. I'm two-spirit. I'm gay. I'm lesbian. I'm bisexual. Chris Pan, he's apparently very wealthy for selling what? Custom bracelets? Like there's money in the custom bracelet business? Did he revolutionize it? Like, somebody's going to have to explain the Chris Pan phenomenon to me. Chris Pan lays the blame on people's, this is quoting from the Post story. Chris Pan blames the poor reception of his speech on people's poor listening skills that featured, the Post says, and they're not wrong, 2 awkward sing-alongs and a magic trick and a weird Bitcoin testimonial. Chris Pan says, I've never been booed by 70,000 people. It's not a good feeling. It was hard. I'm human. It was not easy. But you know, I had a job to do, so I had to keep going. He did say he contemplated walking off the stage. Okay. As for his Bitcoin testimonial, Chris Pan said, all I said was keep an open mind. I know it's polarizing, but I did not expect the boos because I thought people would listen to me. But I didn't realize, victim card warning coming. I didn't realize people didn't listen to me because they have their own biases. Could it be that maybe at a graduation speech they wanted to be inspired, or they wanted to be congratulated, or they wanted you to tell your personal story about how you achieved enough in the business world that you were invited to speak at graduation? Is that a fair expectation for the people in the assembled masses in Ohio Stadium, Chris? Another quote from Mr. Pan, I am the most misunderstood person right now in this world. And it's okay, because people will eventually understand, but right now it is what it is. Yes, you're too stupid to get it, but you will get it because I'm right and I'm the victim.
Increasing cloudiness, a shower this afternoon, high 66. Carville County tonight, low 48. Shower and thunderstorm for tomorrow morning. Some of that can bring some gusty winds and hail. Look for the high tomorrow at 66.
One last pill. Look at the size of this thing.
Partly sunny, terrific day on Monday, high at 76. Clouds and a few showers around Tuesday at 67. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hear from one of America's most important public intellectuals on the Victor Davis Hanson Show. Now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
If you were a billionaire and Donald Trump put up a golf course, would you buy it? I wouldn't. Not because I wouldn't want to help Donald Trump, but they'd go after me. Find a statue. I got the man. You find a crime. That's how they would operate.
Subscribe to the Victor Davis Hanson Show today on Apple, Spotify, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Hey friends, whether it's the melting winter snow or the spring rain that's coming, if you've got roof leaks, that water's coming in, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Well, actually there is, but you've got to take the step. This is Bob Franz, and that step is to call Sky Roofing at 614-280-9308. Look, Sky Roofing is not some fly-by-night storm chaser company that comes in after a storm, claims they fixed your leaks, then disappears before it starts leaking again, leaving you to find someone else. No, Sky Roofing is here for the long haul. They've been serving Ohio homeowners for over 2 decades, and their pledge is to treat your roof like it was one of their own. So if your roof is in disrepair, maybe you've got some gaps in the shingles, or maybe your roof has served its time well for you, but you just need a new one, the damage that's going to be caused by all of those leaks is going to be worse than the cost of getting it done right. Do yourself a favor, get it done right. Call Sky Roofing, 614-280-9308. Call today, get a great quote, learn more at skyroofinginc.com. Sky Roofing is roofing done right.
This is a red alert for hard-working Americans who are tired of seeing their freedoms and retirement savings threatened by the globalist agenda. Wealth Protection Research is on a mission to find whistleblowers who are exposing these schemes. Real patriotic financial warriors like Jim Rickards and Porter Stansberry. They're not afraid to tell it like it is and fight back against the system. Now, with the 2024 election storming our way, your IRA and your 401k may be in the crosshairs. That's why we've compiled our 3 favorite ideas into our Election Protection Report.
Why can't I find that? Google's blocking me from finding that.
Get your free copy of our Election Protection Report now. Just text TRUTH to 76626. Plus, today you'll also get a free gold investment kit from our sponsor, Augusta Precious Metals. Text TRUTH to 76626 now and get the free report and gold investment kit. The fight for your financial freedom is on. Text the word TRUTH to 76626.
Standard text and data rates may apply. Are you among the millions of Americans living with chronic pain? If so, you may think prescription opioids are the solution. The truth is, the benefits of opioids are limited. Opioids only mask the pain. Opioids also come with serious side effects, ranging from nausea to withdrawal symptoms to overdose. As many as 25% of people who are prescribed opioids struggle with addiction. And those who are addicted to opioids are 40 times more likely to move on to heroin. No one wants to live in pain, but no one should put their health at risk to be pain-free. There is another choice: physical therapy. Physical therapists treat pain through movement and exercise. No warning labels.
Can't find it.
In your care. Choose to treat your pain safely. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist near you. This public service announcement is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
Hey, a good steak makes a great weekend activity, but you got to get the best steak you can find somewhere other than where you usually look for them, which is the grocery store. You're not going to find USDA choice and prime beef in the grocery store, certainly not beef that is guaranteed no hormones ever and no antibiotics ever. You really don't know what's in that beef. I mean, I presume that it might taste good, but do you really know? Well, you will know if you order from Riverbend Ranch. Riverbend Ranch is a real ranch out west, and I buy my meat there from Riverbend Ranch every month. I get 4 fillets, 4 New York strips, some ground beef, and a ribeye or 2. Not a big fan of the ribeyes, but man, all of it tastes fantastic. Why? Because they raise their Black Angus beef as cattle were meant to be raised on grasslands, fed with grain grown on the ranch, drinking mountain stream water. They process them on site and flash freeze the beef after it's dry aged to perfection and ship it right to your door. You can find out more about how you can have this done for you and your family at riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. That's riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. So the case against Donald Trump in a New York courtroom is now in its 4th week. And every single day, it seems like the judge makes another ruling that will give the appellate court another reason to throw out any conviction that results from this case. There may not be a conviction that results from this case. There are a couple lawyers on the jury. They probably hate Trump. They're from New York. New York voted like 85% for Joe Biden. But lawyers take oaths, and lawyers are supposed to be officers of the court. They're supposed to uphold the law. And I don't know. Will they do it? Will they not do it? We won't know until the end. But there have been a series of train wreck decisions by Judge Juan Marchand in this case, and he made another one today. He is denying the attempt by Donald Trump's attorneys to, when they get to present their defense, have an attorney named Mark Pomerantz testify. Now, you've heard on this show from Mark Pomerantz before. You might not remember it, but I'm going to play it again for you here momentarily. Mark Pomerantz was a high-powered New York attorney who the district attorney's office in New York hired to work on this case, to put together a case against Donald Trump. Pomerantz and his henchmen hate Trump so much that when the DA before Alvin Bragg said, this is a nothing burger, we're not going to prosecute this, Pomerantz quit working for the DA's office and then wrote a book to pressure Alvin Bragg to prosecute the case. Well, I mean, the strategy worked. It's unethical as all get out. But Trump's attorneys wanted to have Pomerantz come in and explain why he was so hell-bent on prosecuting Trump and why, here's the audio, why Mark Pomerantz, when being questioned a year ago by Matt Gaetz on Capitol Hill, why Mark Pomerantz invoked the Fifth Amendment repeatedly.
Under advice of counsel, I'm not going to answer that question, sir. Privilege against self-incrimination.
Take the fifth.
And did you knowingly break any laws when investigating President Trump?
Same response.
Did you break any laws when you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Same response.
Ms. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights when you worked on the Trump investigation?
Objection. I have the same response to your question.
Mr. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights while you worked at the Manhattan DA's office?
Objection. Same answer.
Did you misuse any federal funds while investigating President Trump?
Same response.
Did you misuse any federal funds while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Same response.
And did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were investigating President Trump?
Same response.
Did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection. Same response.
And did you violate any canons of legal ethics when you were investigating President Trump?
Objection. Same response.
Did you ever violate any canons of legal ethics while you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection. The same response.
Man, that Fifth Amendment really comes in handy when you need it, doesn't it? Mark Pomerantz knows his way around the Constitution when it's convenient for him to stay out of trouble. He's fortunate that there's not a motivated district attorney somewhere who wants to prosecute him the way that Alvin Bragg is chasing after Donald Trump. Now, Pomerantz is not the first witness Trump wanted to call that Judge Marchand has disallowed. Supposedly, a lot of this case is about a campaign finance law that Trump violated. Trump wanted to call a government campaign finance law expert, and Marchand said, no, his testimony would be irrelevant. How would that testimony be irrelevant when this case is about bookkeeping related to what is or isn't a campaign finance expense regarding the payment to Stormy Daniels? But it's relevant that Trump was wearing silk pajamas, and it's relevant that, whatever sexual position they were in when this tryst supposedly took place that Stormy Daniels has signed a paper saying didn't take place, but now says did take place, and all the details are different in her book than from her testimony. The craziness continues, and as he so often does, Jonathan Turley, Fox legal expert, cuts to the heart of it when he puts everything that's happened already in perspective in light of this latest decision by the judge to deny the testimony of Mark Pomerantz.
We just spent 2 days with them trawling the entire ocean of lurid details with Stormy Daniels. For this judge to express concern that maybe this is a bit too broad, really, I'm sure, produced a couple of muffled chuckles in the room. Pomerantz is an interesting character because he was brought in to make this case. He and another prosecutor resigned after Bragg decided to throw a flag on the case. Now remember, Bragg's predecessor declined this theory because the theory is absurd. And Pomerantz and his colleague pushed it, and Bragg also had misgivings. So Pomerantz did something that you rarely see. He went out and wrote a book and effectively did a public campaign to pressure Bragg to bring the charges. His own office told him, you shouldn't do this. This is still under investigation. You're a former prosecutor. You're undermining your own office. But Pomerantz was unrepentant, and it worked. Bragg knuckled under, and he brought the charges. So that's why they wanted to bring him forward. I'm not surprised by the judge's ruling. But coming after the Stormy Daniels catastrophe, the rationale is a bit glaring.
Well, it's glaring, but I'd say a more appropriate term would be galling than glaring. It's been glaring since the very beginning when Alvin Bragg didn't even articulate what the charge was against Donald Trump. The misdemeanor that had expired, Bragg had to find another misdemeanor to magnify the expired misdemeanor into a felony, and now all of a sudden there's not just one felony count against Trump, but there's 34. By the way, did you know that Trump's defense team is not given a heads up on who's going to testify until the person shows up to testify? Like, typically you're allowed to, like, brainstorm and figure out how you're going to question. Like, remember, what was it, A Few Good Men with Jack Nicholson, the Colonel Nathan Jessup, and Tom Cruise and, and Kevin Pollak and I can't even think of Bruce Willis's wife's name. Anyway, Demi Moore. They're strategizing the night before. How are we going to question Colonel Nathan Jessup? You want me on this wall. You need me on this wall. I think he wants to tell us. You know, they were strategizing. What if they didn't know Jessup was going to be on the stand the next day? The defense is always told who's going to testify the next day. But not in this case. You can't handle the truth. Yeah. Well, we can handle the truth, Juan Marchand. You just aren't interested in finding it. You're interested in running a scam to brand Donald Trump as an unlikable guy and convict him of something. But whatever you convict him of, it certainly won't be a crime because it'll get tossed out on appeal.
Hey, Health Warriors, Dr. Brandon Schreiner here with Revive Your Health Radio on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings to a rousing conclusion a fun week on the show. Another great live audience on all the social media streams. Great. Appreciate that, you guys. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you have a great Mother's Day. We got a huge weekend in the Hooley household. I don't know. My daughters probably wouldn't want me to tell you about their accomplishments, but proud dad weekend and proud mom weekend on Mother's Day weekend. So looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing you guys back on Monday. Take care. Have a great weekend. God bless. Enjoy your church service of choice on Sunday. And if you're looking for a great church, hit me up and I'll recommend my own because it's fantastic. Take care.